Title: How to Stop Caring and Start Winning. Full audiobook. Stop caring, not because you're cold, but because you're clear. Every ounce of energy you waste on approval, you steal from your mission. The world worships distraction, validation, noise. But the ones who win, they move silent. They detach. They stay focused. This is not about apathy. It's about mastery. When you stop caring about opinions, you start caring about results. That's when everything changes. That's when you start winning. Chapter 1. Detach or be controlled. You have a choice. Every day, every hour, every thought, and every reaction, you have a choice. Either you control your emotions, or your emotions control you. This is a war that never ends. And most people lose before the day even begins. They wake up already overwhelmed by their thoughts and feelings. One message, one comment, one rejection, and their entire emotional state collapses. They give up control as if it means nothing. They let one moment destroy momentum. They let emotion destroy execution. You can't afford that anymore. Because if emotion controls you, anyone can control you. They push and you react. They doubt and you shrink. They provoke and you fall apart. That's not strength. That's slavery. Emotional slavery. Detachment is the escape. Not apathy. Not coldness. Selective focus. You choose what deserves your energy. That's the key. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You don't need their validation to stay disciplined. You don't owe anyone a reaction. Every reaction costs energy. Every argument costs focus. Every emotional storm steals hours you'll never get back. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Say it again. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Detachment means you no longer negotiate with chaos. You no longer let someone else decide how you feel. You become your own thermostat, not a thermometer reacting to the room. The average person is addicted to reaction. They can't sit still. They can't stay silent. They need to respond, defend, explain. They burn energy on noise. Winners don't. Winners conserve energy for movement. They use emotion as fuel, not as fire. Understand this. Emotion is not the enemy. Undisciplined emotion is. You will feel. You will hurt. You will get angry. But you decide how long you stay there. That's your discipline. You have a choice. Stay stuck or move forward. React or respond. Collapse or compose. Detachment isn't about becoming a robot. It's about being the driver, not the passenger. When chaos hits, you grip the wheel tighter, not scream at the storm. Think of the soldier, the athlete, the surgeon, each trained for pressure, each emotionless when precision matters most. They don't panic. They process. They don't react. They respond. That's the mindset of mastery. You must train the same way. Start with small moments. Traffic, criticism, delay. Pause before reacting. Breathe before responding. Ask, does this deserve my energy? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. That pause, that silence is power, because silence creates space. And in that space, you regain control. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. It's simple. It's brutal. It's freedom. Stop taking things personally. People project their weakness. They want to pull you into their storm so they can feel powerful. Don't step into it. Stay anchored. Remember, emotion is contagious. You can either catch chaos or project calm. Choose calm. Every time. That's leadership. That's focus. That's detachment in motion. People will misunderstand your calmness. They'll call you cold, distant, arrogant. Let them, because their opinion doesn't build your life. Your discipline does. Repeat after me. I'm not here to please. I am here to progress. I'm not here to prove. I am here to perform. Every time you refuse to react, you win another battle inside your mind. Every time you stay centered when provoked, you grow stronger. Every time you let go, you gain control. Detachment is emotional discipline. It's mental armor. It's how you stay mission-focused when everything tries to pull you off course. You don't get stronger by avoiding emotion. You get stronger by mastering it. You face it. You feel it. You redirect it. That's how warriors are made. Emotional control doesn't kill passion. It channels it. When you stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter, you unlock power for what does. Think about how much energy you've lost to drama, to gossip, to comparison. Hours, days, years, gone. Now imagine that same energy redirected into mastery, into focus, into execution. That's the transformation. That's the reward of detachment. It's not about caring less. It's about caring better. Caring about what actually moves your life forward. That's what makes you unstoppable. So from this moment on, you train emotional neutrality. You practice non-reaction. You master the pause. When they doubt you, stay silent. When they test you, stay calm. When they provoke you, stay steady. Because every time you do, you prove one truth. You own your emotions. They don't own you. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Say it again until it becomes your code. Because that's what this is, a code. Detachment is not indifference. It's direction. It's choosing to protect your focus above your feelings. It's building peace inside chaos. The more detached you become, the more powerful you feel. Because nothing outside you can shake what's inside you. People lose their way because they care about everything. You will win because you care about the right things. Detach or be controlled. That's the rule. No one escapes it. You have a choice. Be mastered by emotion or master emotion. Be pulled by noise or move in silence. Be reactive or be relentless. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Say it again. Live again. Breathe it until it becomes reflex. Because this is the foundation of everything that follows. You can't build focus without detachment. You can't build power without peace. And you can't win until you stop caring about everything that doesn't matter. You mastered your emotions. Now, it's time to master your expression. Because the next step is where most people fall apart. Chapter 2. Stop explaining yourself. You have a choice. To keep defending your path, or to start walking it. Most people spend their lives trying to convince others they're right, but winners don't explain. They execute. Every time you explain yourself, you lower your energy to meet someone else's doubt. You take power that should go into progress and feed it into proving. You turn forward motion into friction. That's the trap. The trap of over-explaining. The trap of trying to be understood by people who haven't earned the right to understand you. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't need their applause. You need movement. You need direction. You need results. Explaining yourself is emotional leakage. It's focus bleeding out through your words. Because when you talk too much about your goals, you start believing talking is progress. It's not. Talking is delay dressed as action. That's the key. Understanding that explanation is ego, not execution. You want to feel validated, so you justify. You want to be liked, so you overshare. You want to be understood, so you talk instead of build. Stop it. No one who truly executes has time to explain. Think about it. The lion doesn't announce the hunt. The general doesn't broadcast the strategy. The surgeon doesn't narrate each incision. They do the work. They let the results speak. That's how power operates. Silent, direct, undeniable. You never need to explain what your consistency already proves. You have a choice. Talk about it or become it. You can't do both. Every word you waste defending yourself is a word you could have used planning your next move. Every moment you argue is a moment you could have executed. Every justification feeds insecurity and starves confidence. Confidence is quiet because confidence is built in action. When you truly know your direction, you don't explain it, you embody it. You don't convince the doubters. You outlast them. You don't argue with critics. You outperform them. Because explanation is temporary. Proof is permanent. Understand this. The people who demand explanations from you are usually the ones doing the least. They want to slow you down. They want you to waste time on justification so they don't have to confront their own lack of movement. Don't give them that power. Don't feed their comfort with your energy. You don't owe them your story. You don't owe them your process. You don't owe them your reasoning. All you owe is focus. When you stop explaining, something happens. Silence starts to speak for you. Your absence from arguments becomes your presence in results. Your stillness becomes your statement. That's mastery. That's control. Every great transformation begins with silence. Because silence is sacred. It's where focus lives. It's where the plan breathes. And when the plan is ready, you act, not announce. The problem is you were trained to seek understanding, trained to defend your choices, trained to explain why you're different. But the truth is, if they can't see your vision, their opinion is irrelevant. You can't make the blind appreciate color. You can't make the small-minded understand expansion. So stop trying. You have to outgrow the need to be understood. That's emotional maturity. That's mental discipline. It's not about arrogance. It's about clarity. You're not better than anyone. You're just focused. And focus looks like arrogance to the unfocused. When you stop explaining, you build mystery. Mystery builds authority. Authority builds respect. The quiet one in a room always has the most control. Because they're not reacting, they're observing. They're not defending, they're deciding. They're not explaining, they're executing. You don't need to announce your standards. Live them. You don't need to justify your silence. Guard it. You don't need to describe your purpose. Demonstrate it. You have a choice. Feed your ego or feed your mission. That's the fork in the road every disciplined mind faces. Ego talks. Discipline moves. That's the difference between motion and meaning. Look back at every time you tried to explain yourself to people who didn't care. Did it change their mind? Did it move your life forward? Or did it just drain your fire? You already know the answer. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable. That's what real winners do. They make disbelief impossible. Stop explaining. Start showing. Stop convincing. Start building. Stop talking. Start becoming. Every minute you explain yourself, you teach people they're allowed to question your direction. But when you stay silent and consistent, the world stops questioning. It starts watching. And watching turns into respect. Respect turns into demand. Demand turns into legacy. That's the chain reaction you create when you stop explaining. You don't need their permission to level up. You don't need their understanding to evolve. You don't need to prove who you are. You need to live who you are, loudly, quietly. That's the paradox. Loud in impact, silent in process. This is your reminder. Explaining is weakness. Execution is strength. The world doesn't remember the people who talked. It remembers the ones who did. So from now on, when they question you, don't argue. Outwork. When they doubt you, don't explain, deliver. When they don't understand, don't slow down, accelerate. You have a choice. To explain or to expand. Choose expansion. Every time. Because every explanation you skip becomes one more step toward mastery. And mastery doesn't need a microphone. It needs a mission. You've stopped reacting. Now, you stopped explaining. You're learning the power of silence. And silence is the birthplace of discipline. That's what's next. The deeper layer of control. The weapon few ever master. Chapter 3. Validation is the modern addiction. You have a choice. To seek approval or to build power. Every time you chase validation, you trade strength for attention. You self-focus for a hit of recognition. You trade long-term peace for short-term applause. That's the new addiction, validation. It's stronger than alcohol, deeper than caffeine, and easier to access than ever before. One like, one comment, one compliment, and you're hooked. They call it connection, but it's control. Because the moment you need someone to notice you, you've handed them power. You've given them emotional leverage over your peace. And that's the problem. The world is built to keep you craving approval. The algorithm rewards insecurity. The culture rewards noise. Everyone's screaming, "Look at me," because no one knows who they are without attention. You can't win in that environment if you play by those rules. You win by detaching. You win by starving the addiction. You win by staying invisible until it's time to be undeniable. Validation is the currency of the weak. Discipline is the currency of the strong. And you can't have both. You have to choose. You can't chase approval and mastery at the same time. Every post that seeks applause weakens your focus. Every time you measure your worth through reactions, you lose self-respect. Because what you feed grows. And when you feed the need to be seen, you starve your soul to be real. Listen, validation feels good, but it never lasts. It's the sugar high of ego. It spikes fast, crashes harder. You'll need another hit tomorrow, and another the day after that. That's the trap. The system wants you insecure. Because insecure people buy more, scroll more, compare more, and think less. That's how they win. You break free when you stop performing for attention. When you start doing the work for yourself, not for witnesses. Because the strongest version of you doesn't post for validation. The strongest version of you disappears for 6 months and reappears unrecognizable. You have a choice. Build confidence or chase compliments. One feeds you, the other bleeds you. Every time you seek validation, ask yourself, from who? Who are you trying to impress? People who don't even know their own direction? Strangers who forget you after 5 seconds? That's not validation. That's vanity. Real validation comes from within, and it comes from repetition, not recognition. From discipline, not dopamine. From growth, not approval. You don't need to post every move. You don't need to announce every goal. You don't need to prove that you're evolving. Just evolve. Quietly. Consistently. That's the discipline that separates the powerful from the popular. The powerful don't crave attention because they're too focused on results. The popular crave relevance because they're terrified of silence. But silence is where greatness grows. That's the key. The quiet room. The unseen grind. The unshared progress. That's where real power forms. In the dark, without witnesses. You don't need their permission to grow in private. You don't need their eyes to validate your effort. You don't need applause to confirm you're on the right path. You already know. The validation you seek is already inside you, waiting for proof through action. Every time you wake up early. Every time you stay disciplined when it's inconvenient. Every time you choose progress over approval. That's self-validation. You can't fake that. You can't buy that. You can only earn it. That's the kind of validation that builds empires. So, how do you detox from validation? You start by starving it. You stop checking who's watching. You stop refreshing for likes. You stop fishing for compliments in conversations. You replace external noise with internal accountability. You build systems that measure your growth in action, not applause. Hours worked. Skills mastered. Habits built. That's your scoreboard. Because the world doesn't reward truth, it rewards spectacle. You can't compete with that and stay sane. So stop competing. Withdraw. Detach. Become immune to the noise. You have a choice to be addicted to being seen or committed to being effective. That's why detachment is freedom, because validation chains you to others' opinions. You start living reactively, like a puppet tied to attention. If they praise you, you rise. If they ignore you, you fall. That's not power. That's imprisonment. Real power is neutrality. You move the same in silence or spotlight. You produce the same whether praised or doubted. You're steady, always steady. That's emotional maturity. That's mental toughness. You don't need them to see it. You just need to be it. Understand this. The more you crave validation, the more you'll attract manipulation. Because manipulators feed on your need to be liked. They sense it. They exploit it. They reward you with attention and pull it away when they need control. That's how emotional weakness is built. You must break that cycle. And the only way to break it is to not need what they offer. The less you crave validation, the harder you are to control. That's freedom. That's power. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being self-sufficient. You can love people and still not need their approval. You can share your work and still not depend on their praise. That's balance. Validation loses its grip when purpose takes over. Because when you're obsessed with your mission, you stop caring who's watching. You stop explaining. You stop proving. You just do. And the irony is, that's when people start paying attention. When you stop chasing validation, validation starts chasing you. Because the world respects what it can't control. So stop chasing attention. Build gravity. Become the kind of person whose focus attracts respect without asking for it. That's the transformation. That's the power of self-validation. Repeat after me. I don't need to be seen to be valuable. I don't need to be liked to be strong. I don't need to be understood to be effective. You have a choice every day to crave validation or to create results, to seek attention or to command respect, to perform for the world or to perfect yourself. Choose mastery, because mastery outlasts popularity every time. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Detach from the noise. Starve the addiction. And rebuild your peace. You've learned to stop reacting. You've learned to stop explaining. Now, you're learning to stop seeking. Because validation was never the problem. Dependency was. And when you finally conquer that, you're ready for the next step, the deeper discipline that gives you ultimate control. Chapter 4. The Power of Emotional Minimalism. You have a choice, to drown in feelings or to discipline them. Most people are emotional hoarders. They collect everything, every slight, every comment, every bad day. They carry it all, and then wonder why they're exhausted. You can't win when your mind is cluttered. You can't focus when you're carrying everyone's noise. You can't rise when your emotions weigh you down. Emotional minimalism is the cure. It's not about feeling less. It's about carrying less. It's the art of keeping only what matters. You declutter your space to live better. You must declutter your mind to perform better. Because every unnecessary emotion is mental debt. It steals your focus. It drains your energy. And it blinds you to the present. That's the key. Learning to separate what deserves your reaction from what doesn't. You don't need to feel everything. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to engage with every emotion that visits. Some emotions are guests. Let them leave. Others are teachers. Listen, learn, release. You don't need to hold them all. You have a choice. Hold emotions or hold focus. You can't hold both. The world tells you to feel everything, but that's how people stay trapped. They confuse awareness with indulgence. You don't have to indulge your emotions to understand them. Awareness is intelligence. Indulgence is weakness. Emotional minimalism is about precision. You feel what's real, not what's reactive. You respond to what matters, not what tempts. You protect your peace like it's your paycheck, because it is. Your energy is currency. Spend it on creation, not reaction. Ask yourself right now, how much mental space have you given to things that don't deserve you? People you can't control. Situations you can't change. Memories you should have released months ago. That's emotional clutter. And clutter kills clarity. Clean it up. Not by force, by focus. Decide what matters. Eliminate the rest. You don't need closure. You need discipline. You don't need revenge. You need redirection. You don't need peace from others. You build it yourself. That's emotional minimalism. Responsibility over reaction. You stop outsourcing your stability to the world. You stop letting circumstances dictate your state. You stop expecting calm to come from chaos. You create it. You become it. You protect it. That's your job now. The emotionally minimal live differently. They don't chase every feeling. They curate them. They don't react to every event. They assess them. They don't drown in noise. They float above it. Because they've learned the rule, not every thought deserves a voice. Not every emotion deserves an audience. Not every impulse deserves an action. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Because when your emotions serve you, they strengthen you. When you serve them, they break you. Minimalism doesn't mean coldness. It means control. It means you can feel deeply without being destroyed by it. It means you choose what stays, what goes, and what simply passes. The warrior feels but never floods. The strategist observes but never reacts. The builder cares but never collapses. That's the balance. That's the blueprint. You have to start editing your inner world the same way you'd edit your home. If it doesn't add peace, remove it. If it doesn't serve your purpose, release it. If it doesn't move you forward, it doesn't belong. You don't need to fix your emotions. You need to organize them. You don't need to suppress your feelings. You need to simplify them. Try this. When a strong emotion hits, don't resist it. Acknowledge it. Label it. Learn from it. Then decide, does it deserve to stay? Most won't. That's the discipline. That's emotional editing. The practice of clearing your inner clutter before it owns you. Because what you don't process becomes poison. And poison spreads quietly. You start overreacting. You start overthinking. You start overfeeling. Until you break your own focus. Not because the world attacked you, but because you refuse to let go. Minimalism is mastery through subtraction. Not by doing more, by needing less. Not by fighting harder, by reacting less. Not by being perfect, by being present. Every master of self has this in common. They are calm under pressure. They are silent under stress. They are centered when others lose balance. That's emotional minimalism in motion. You can't reach that level if you're addicted to emotional drama. If you chase chaos for stimulation, you'll never experience peace. Some people are bored without problems. Don't be one of them. Peace is not passive. Peace is power. Peace is the result of strict emotional boundaries. It means you don't argue with noise. You don't explain to chaos. You don't participate in drama. You move differently. You breathe differently. You choose differently. Because you finally understand, not everything requires your energy. You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to answer every insult. You don't need to fix every storm. Let the world spin. You stay still. That's emotional strength. That's focus. That's freedom. You have a choice. Every day, every hour, every reaction. Simplify your emotions, and your power multiplies. That's the paradox. Because the less you feel unnecessarily, the more deeply you feel what matters. You stop being overwhelmed by everything and start being devoted to the few things that count. That's clarity. That's composure. That's control. Emotional minimalism turns chaos into calm and calm into command. It's the difference between a life you manage and a life that manages you. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. You've learned to detach. You've learned to stop explaining. You've learned to stop seeking validation. Now you've learned to simplify your emotional world. And simplicity creates space. The space to build, the space to act, the space to rise. You mastered the inner calm. Now it's time to weaponize it. Because the next step is silence itself, the ultimate amplifier of power. Chapter 5. Silence is a weapon. You have a choice. To speak to be heard, or to move to be felt. The loud chase attention. The silent command it. You don't need to prove your power with noise. You prove it with control. Because real power doesn't shout. It moves quietly and strikes precisely. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's how you gather information while others reveal themselves. It's how you protect your energy while others waste theirs. It's how you win wars without showing your weapons. The undisciplined speak fast. The wise observe longer. The powerful calculate, wait, and strike once. You have to train that level of restraint. Because silence is the highest form of self-control. It's emotional detachment in motion. It's mental dominance without announcement. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. That includes the urge to always explain, defend, or react. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to reply to every insult. You don't need to engage in every argument. Most people waste their strength proving points that don't matter. You can't win every conversation, and you don't have to. Winning the argument often means losing your focus. Silence wins because it doesn't play. Understand this. The moment you react, you expose your emotional state. The moment you speak without purpose, you hand away leverage. The moment you explain your strategy, you weaken it. That's why silence is not absence. It's presence refined. It's the mark of someone who doesn't move from impulse. It's how warriors think. It's how leaders breathe. You don't have to be silent forever. You have to be silent strategically. Speak when it matters. Speak when it builds. Speak when it cuts through the noise. Otherwise, stay still. Stillness is power disguised as peace. Because while others burn energy reacting, you're building energy observing. Observation is ammunition. Silence gives you that. The space to see what others miss. While they speak, you listen. While they show emotion, you read patterns. While they reveal themselves, you refine yourself. That's control. That's precision. That's power. The strong don't talk about their goals. They live them. They don't share their plans. They execute them. They don't brag about their moves. They finish them. Silence keeps you unpredictable. And unpredictability keeps you untouchable. You have a choice. Be noise or be force. One entertains. The other endures. When you stay silent, people wonder what you're thinking. That uncertainty becomes your advantage. Because mystery intimidates the untrained mind. They fear what they can't read. The loud are easy to predict. The silent are impossible to control. That's why silence wins. It turns confusion into control. When you speak less, your words weigh more. When you move less, your actions echo louder. When you reveal less, your image grows stronger. You don't need to talk to build authority. You need consistency. You need presence. You need discipline. The world rewards noise short-term, but respects silence long-term. The loud get attention. The silent build empires. Remember, silence isn't avoidance. It's dominance through focus. It's emotional neutrality weaponized. You master silence by mastering your impulse to react. That's the test. When your mind screams, respond. And your discipline says, wait. That pause, that split second, is power. That's where control is built. You don't need to prove anything through words. Your work proves everything through results. Let your silence be the space where your actions echo. People who misunderstand your silence will reveal their own noise. They'll call you distant, arrogant, cold, but you'll know the truth. You're just not available for chaos anymore. Because silence protects your frequency. It shields your peace. It keeps your emotions yours. Noise is energy leakage. Silence is energy storage. You can't build mastery in a loud mind. You can't hear intuition through constant reaction. You can't stay focused if you're addicted to sound. Silence is how you recharge. It's how you reset your nervous system. It's how you prepare for precise execution. Use silence as a tool. Use it in meetings, in conflict, in decision-making. The one who speaks last often speaks best. The one who listens longest understands deepest. And the one who stays quiet when tested wins. Silence disarms aggressors. It frustrates manipulators. It exposes weak minds who need chaos to feel alive. You don't owe anyone your reaction. You don't owe anyone your explanation. You owe yourself your composure. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. When you speak, make it intentional. When you move, make it decisive. When you stay quiet, make it powerful. That's how you build gravity. That's how you lead without speaking. That's how your presence becomes the loudest thing in the room. Silence is magnetic. It pulls focus without asking for it. It demands respect without requesting it. Because people feel what you don't say more than what you do. That's energy. That's aura. That's command. The disciplined speak little because they're too busy doing much. Every word must earn its place. Every reaction must serve the mission. If it doesn't, stay quiet. That's your power move now. Silence, precision, and patience. You don't need to speak to be understood. You need to move with clarity, and the world will follow. Repeat after me. I don't chase attention. I create impact. I don't explain my piece. I protect it. I don't fight with noise. I master silence. You have a choice every day to talk like the crowd or to move like the few. Because silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of control. And control is what separates the powerful from the reactive. Stay still. Stay sharp. Stay selective. Because when you master silence, you master yourself. You've learned to detach. You've learned to stop explaining. You've learned to stop seeking. You've learned to simplify. Now you've learned to weaponize stillness. You're no longer reacting, you're commanding. You're no longer proving, you're positioning. You're no longer talking, you're transforming. And that's when the world begins to notice, without you saying a word. You mastered silence. Now it's time to master suffering, because pain is the next gate to strength. Chapter 6. Pain is a teacher. You have a choice, to run from pain or to learn from it. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the instructor you've been avoiding. Every lesson that made you stronger came wrapped in discomfort. Every transformation you've had came from something that hurt. That's not coincidence. That's design. Pain exposes truth. It reveals what you really value, what you really believe, what you really are. It strips away illusion. It burns off weakness. It leaves only what's real. And that's the point. Pain is purification. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid it. They numb it, dodge it, deny it. But the more you run from pain, the more it chases you. Avoidance doesn't save you. It delays you. You can't grow in comfort. Comfort is the breeding ground of mediocrity. It keeps you soft, predictable, and easily broken. You have a choice. Avoid the lesson or learn it. Pain is the tuition you pay for strength. It costs, yes, but it pays in discipline, resilience, and awareness. You don't get mental toughness from easy days. You get it from rejection, from failure, from long nights of not giving up. You get it from hearing no and still moving forward. You get it from being ignored, betrayed, tested, and still choosing focus. That's the school of mastery. That's where you earn respect from yourself. You have to stop fearing pain and start listening to it. Because every time you suffer, something is being revealed. Pain says, this matters. Pain says, there's growth here. Pain says, pay attention. The weak ask, why me? The strong ask, what is this teaching me? That's the mindset shift that changes everything. Because pain never shows up without purpose. It doesn't arrive to break you. It arrives to shape you. It's resistance training for the soul. Every great athlete trains under pressure. Every great warrior bleeds in silence before victory. Every strong mind has learned to use pain instead of fear it. That's what you must learn, how to turn suffering into strength. You can't stop pain from coming, but you can control what it becomes. It can be your excuse or your education. It can be your cage or your catalyst. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. That's the rule, even here. You can't control what hurts you, but you can control how long it owns you. Pain demands attention, but it doesn't deserve control. You acknowledge it, you learn, you move. You never stay. Every scar tells a story, not of damage, but of endurance. You survived something that could have stopped you. That's proof of strength. That's proof of progress. So stop hiding your pain. Start using it. Channel it. Turn it into discipline. Turn it into clarity. Turn it into drive. Because pain gives focus. When you hurt, everything irrelevant disappears. That's when you see what really matters. You don't think about distractions when you're in pain. You think about change. You think about growth. You think about meaning. That's the clarity pain brings, and it's priceless. The ones who master life are not the ones who avoid suffering. They are the ones who transmute it. They take the same fire that burns others and use it to forge themselves. Think of steel. It only becomes strong through heat. Without pressure, it's just metal. With pressure, it becomes a blade. You're the same. The world wants you soft, but softness doesn't survive storms. You have to be forged. You have to be tested. You have to feel discomfort until you stop fearing it. Pain teaches patience. Pain teaches humility. Pain teaches control. It shows you what you can't fake, your limits, your discipline, your beliefs. It's the mirror that never lies. So stop wishing it away. Start respecting it. Start learning from it. When life gets harder, it's not punishing you. It's preparing you. That's the difference between victims and victors. Interpretation. Victims see pain as cruelty. Victors see pain as curriculum. And the lesson is always the same. Suffer well. Endure with purpose. Emerge sharper. You have a choice every time pain visits, complain or command, break or build, retreat or rise. Because pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. Suffering is pain without perspective, and perspective is your responsibility. You decide what the pain means. You decide what story it tells. You decide how long it defines you. That's the ultimate freedom, to feel deeply and still remain in control. Repeat after me. Pain will not destroy me. Pain will refine me. Pain will remind me I am alive and capable of more. You can either use pain or be used by it. And if you don't assign your pain a purpose, it will assign one for you. Let it teach you. Let it temper you. Let it harden your edges without closing your heart. That's balance. That's wisdom. That's power. Because without pain, you stay naive. Without pain, you stay untested. Without pain, you never know what you're truly made of. But when you face it head on, when you stare it down and move through it, you realize it was never the enemy. It was the exam, and passing it changes everything. You have a choice: to let pain make you bitter or to let it make you disciplined, to let it slow you down or sharpen your focus, to let it define you or refine you. Choose refinement. Choose discipline. Choose growth. Because pain is coming no matter what. You might as well make it pay rent. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Let the pain teach you what comfort never could. You've mastered silence. Now you've learned the language of pain. You're becoming unbreakable, not because you avoid hurt, but because you transform it. And once you can do that, once you can stay calm in the fire, you can handle anything. You've turned pain into power. Now it's time to turn discipline into dominance. Chapter 7. Discipline over emotion. You have a choice: to be ruled by your feelings or to be defined by your discipline. Every person who fails knows what they should do. But knowing is nothing. Doing consistently, deliberately, relentlessly, that's everything. Discipline is what bridges the gap between desire and reality. Emotion can start a journey. Only discipline finishes it. You can't depend on feelings to build your future, because feelings are unstable. They rise with comfort and die with resistance. They love excitement, but disappear in repetition. That's why you can't build a great life around emotion. You must build it around structure, because structure doesn't care about mood. Structure gets it done. You have to decide who's in charge, your emotions or your mission, because they will fight for control every single day. Your emotions will whisper, rest. Your mission will demand, rise. Your emotions will say, you deserve a break. Your mission will say, you haven't earned it yet. You have a choice. Every morning, every night, every decision. Most people lose that battle before they start. They wait to feel motivated. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect conditions. But the truth is, you will never feel like it. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It cares what you do. You have to stop chasing emotion and start mastering execution. That's the key. Discipline is freedom. Emotion is chaos. You can't have both at the same time. If you wait until you feel good to act, you'll spend your life waiting. But if you act while you feel nothing, you'll build momentum. And momentum creates power. That's how the disciplined win. Through consistency, not comfort. Every time you act without emotion's permission, you rewire your brain. You build self-respect. You build identity. You build a voice that says, I do what I said I do. And that voice, that's power. That's integrity in motion. Discipline is not punishment. It's alignment. It's your higher self telling your lower self, we move anyway. Feel tired? Move anyway. Feel doubt? Move anyway. Feel fear? Move anyway. That's the formula. That's the difference. The disciplined don't deny emotions. They just don't obey them. They observe them, respect them, then act beyond them. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. You can't control how you feel every day, but you can control what you do every day. And what you do shapes who you become. Look at the greats. The soldier trains in the rain. The athlete performs in pain. The artist creates when no one is watching. The disciplined act regardless of emotion. They don't need motivation. They have momentum. They don't need hype. They have habits. Emotion asks for comfort. Discipline demands consistency. Emotion reacts. Discipline prepares. That's why most fail. They think success is a mood. It's not. It's a schedule. Discipline gives your life a rhythm that emotion can't interrupt. It's what keeps you moving when excitement fades, when results stall, when doubt screams. Because the truth is, motivation will abandon you. But discipline stays. Every time you follow your plan instead of your feelings, you gain control. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you act without emotion's permission, your power multiplies. That's self-mastery. You don't need to feel inspired to take action. Action creates inspiration, and repetition turns it into identity. That's how discipline works. Not through intensity, but through consistency. Not through bursts, but through structure. Not through excitement, but through execution. When you live by emotion, your results are unpredictable. When you live by discipline, your growth is inevitable. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you repeat. Repeat progress. Repeat patience. Repeat precision. Because repetition builds rhythm, and rhythm builds results. You have a choice, to be emotional or to be effective, to react or to rise, to feel your way through life or to lead your way through it. Emotion tells you what's easy. Discipline tells you what's necessary. Emotion gives you excuses. Discipline gives you execution. That's why emotion-based living keeps you broke, stuck, and tired, because it changes with the weather. But discipline-based living builds wealth, strength, and freedom because it's rooted in choice, not chance. Understand this. Every disciplined act strengthens your identity. You're teaching yourself, I follow through. You're proving that you can be trusted by you. And when you trust yourself, confidence becomes automatic. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop bargaining with laziness. You stop questioning your path. That's what real self-esteem is, not comfort, but consistency. Emotion will betray you. Discipline never will. So stop waiting to feel good about the work. Do the work, and you'll feel good about yourself. That's how winners operate, because the body follows the mind, and the mind follows the plan. If the plan is clear, you don't need emotion to guide you. You just need execution. That's what separates the elite from everyone else. They move on command, their own command. No permission, no excuses, no drama. You don't need motivation. You need a routine. You don't need passion. You need practice. You don't need emotion. You need endurance. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. Every day you follow your system, your emotions lose power. They start working for you instead of against you. They become energy, not interference. That's the goal, not to destroy emotion, but to direct it. Emotion gives spark. Discipline gives structure. Together, they create greatness. But discipline must lead. Always. Repeat after me. I act regardless of feeling. I move with consistency. My emotions serve my mission, not the other way around. That's your code now. That's your edge. Because when you stop being emotional about discipline, you start being disciplined about emotion. That's where mastery begins. You've learned to detach. You've learned to simplify. You've learned to endure. Now you've learned to execute without emotion's approval. And that changes everything. Because once your actions stop depending on feelings, your growth stops depending on luck. You've built the foundation. Now it's time to fortify it. Chapter 8. Stop seeking comfort. You have a choice. To chase comfort or to chase growth. But you can't have both. Every comfort you cling to becomes a cage. Every convenience you idolize becomes chain. And every time you choose easy, you delay greatness. Comfort feels safe, but safety is a slow death. It kills drive. It kills hunger. It kills evolution. You weren't built for comfort. You were built for conquest. The human spirit thrives in challenge. It decays in ease. Look around. Most people aren't depressed because life is too hard. They're depressed because it's too easy. No struggle, no meaning, no resistance, no growth, no test, no triumph. You need pressure to progress. You need friction to focus. You need discomfort to wake you up. That's the truth no one wants to hear. We've built a world that worships comfort, instant food, instant gratification, instant validation. But comfort is not peace. Comfort is anesthesia. It numbs you quietly. It convinces you that mediocrity is good enough. And that's how you die, long before you're gone. You have a choice, to live soft or to live sharp. Comfort is the enemy of strength. It removes the need for effort, which removes the opportunity for evolution. If you never struggle, you never learn. If you never sweat, you never strengthen. Growth demands tension. Discipline demands resistance. Greatness demands discomfort. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. That means controlling your appetite for ease and starving it. Every time you choose comfort, you trade long-term peace for short-term pleasure. Every time you avoid discomfort, you delay destiny. Stop looking for balance when you haven't built endurance. Stop asking for rest when you haven't earned exhaustion. Stop calling it self-care when it's self-sabotage. Comfort disguises itself as kindness. It whispers, you deserve a break, but it never gives you one. It takes everything from you. You start skipping the workout, skipping the plan, skipping the challenge, and slowly you skip your potential. You have to rewire what comfort means to you. Comfort isn't sitting still. It's knowing you did everything you could today. Comfort isn't avoiding the grind. It's sleeping with peace because you gave your all. That's real comfort. Earned, not given. Every great transformation begins with discomfort. The body changes under stress. The mind sharpens under challenge. The soul evolves under pressure. You can't evolve in a padded environment. You must step into resistance. Pain doesn't break you. It refines you. Difficulty doesn't define you. It reveals you. You don't need to fear discomfort. You need to seek it. Hunt it. Invite it. Because discomfort is the doorway to every version of yourself you haven't met yet. Most people never meet that version because they quit too soon. They stop when it hurts instead of staying until it transforms them. But if you stay long enough, pain becomes clarity, and clarity becomes freedom. The goal isn't to suffer endlessly. The goal is to grow intentionally, to choose challenge consciously, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how you build endurance. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build peace. The strong don't chase comfort, they redefine it. Comfort for them is doing the hard thing first. Comfort is showing up when no one's watching. Comfort is feeling tired and doing it anyway. That's the difference. That's why the strong win. They've trained their minds to crave challenge. They've taught their bodies to endure pain. They've turned discipline into instinct. You have to train the same way. You can't talk about wanting more while running from what it costs. You can't pray for strength while avoiding resistance. That's not faith. That's fear. Growth is supposed to hurt. That's how you know it's working. The gym hurts. Rejection hurts. Change hurts. But staying the same hurts worse. The question is not whether life will be hard. The question is whether you'll let it harden you or sharpen you. Stop chasing comfort. Start chasing capacity. Start asking, how much more can I take? Instead of when will it end? Because every time you stretch your limits move. That's how you become unrecognizable. Not overnight, but through repeated discomfort. Through days when you don't want to. Through moments when it's easier to quit. Through times when emotion screams and discipline whispers, keep going. That whisper is your real voice. Listen to it. Comfort kills clarity, but challenge creates conviction. When things get hard, most people look for the exit. Winners look for the lesson. You're not here to survive life. You're here to master it. And mastery doesn't happen in comfort. Repeat after me. I don't run from discomfort. I don't hide from pressure. I grow through pain, not away from it. That's your creed now. Because when you stop seeking comfort, you start seeking truth. And truth is rarely easy, but it's always worth it. Comfort asks for nothing and gives nothing. Discomfort asks for everything and gives greatness. So pick your pain. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of effort or the pain of decay. The pain of growth or the pain of staying small. You have a choice. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. You can't control how long the challenge lasts, but you can control how long you last in it. And that's what defines the strong. Because the truth is, comfort won't protect you. It will soften you until life breaks you. Discomfort builds the callus that makes you unbreakable. You've mastered your emotions. You've mastered your discipline. Now, you've mastered the art of discomfort. And when you no longer fear discomfort, you become unstoppable. Because everything after that, every obstacle, every challenge, every pain becomes training. You stopped seeking ease. You've started seeking evolution. That's the mark of someone who's awake. Now it's time to take that power and direct it with stealth, to move with precision, to win in silence. Chapter 9. Move in silence. When in public, you have a choice. To broadcast your goals or to build them. The loud announce. The focused execute. The world doesn't need another promise. It needs proof. Your results will always speak louder than your words. Let them. Silence is not hiding. Silence is preparation. It's where focus sharpens and greatness grows. Most people talk too early. They share their goals before they've built the grit to reach them. They want applause before progress. They confuse visibility with value. Don't make that mistake. Talking takes energy, the same energy you need to execute. Every time you tell the world your plan, you drain the power that could have built it. You don't need validation for the process. You need dedication to the mission. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. You can't control opinions. You can control execution. That's where your strength lives, in silence, not noise. Winners understand timing. They know when to speak and when to disappear. They vanish in the season of work and reappear in the season of harvest. That's how you move, quiet in the grind, loud in the results. Because every time you reveal your moves, you invite resistance. Not everyone watching you wants you to win. Some observe to applaud. Others observe to compete. Most observe to copy. That's why privacy is power. That's why secrecy is strength. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone a preview. You owe yourself performance. Be so focused that silence becomes your language. Be so consistent that your absence feels like a statement. Your silence is your signature. It tells the world, I'm busy building. You have a choice, to chase attention or to create impact. Attention fades fast. Impact lasts forever. Think about the greats, the real ones. They disappear for months. They study, they train, they sacrifice. And then one day, the world wakes up and they're different. No announcement, no warning, just results. That's how you win. That's how you become undeniable. Let your silence be the storm they never saw coming. Because real success doesn't make noise while it's growing. It grows in the shadows. It builds quietly, then explodes publicly. The seed grows underground before it breaks through the soil. You're the same. You don't owe the world updates on your progress. You owe yourself consistency in your process. And when it's time, when the work is ready, your results will make the noise for you. Silence protects you. Noise exposes you. People can't attack what they can't see. They can't ruin what they don't know. They can't drain what they can't reach. Move quietly. Move deliberately. Move consistently. You're not avoiding attention. You're earning it differently, through impact, not impulse. When you move in silence, your focus deepens. You're not performing for anyone. You're not distracted by opinions. You're not tempted by applause. You're building in purity. That's how mastery feels: clean, lonely, powerful. Most people fear that loneliness. They mistake solitude for isolation. But solitude is your sanctuary. It's where the noise fades and truth appears. In silence, you hear yourself clearly. You hear what needs to change. You hear what you've been avoiding. That's why most people stay loud, because silence exposes them. But you're not most people. You've learned to detach. You've learned to endure. You've learned to execute. Now you learn to vanish. Disappear into your work. Disappear into your training. Disappear into your vision. Let the world guess. Let them wonder. Let them wait. When they talk, you build. When they doubt, you grow. When they sleep, you move. And when you reappear, you'll make noise without saying a word. That's the power of silence. It multiplies impact through mystery. Because people underestimate what they can't measure. They'll doubt your absence until your results silence them. You don't need to prove your progress. You need to keep producing it. Your wins are not meant to be announced. They're meant to be revealed. Not in theory, in reality. So let them talk. Let them gossip. Let them assume. While they discuss your silence, you're designing your success. You have a choice every day. Talk about your moves or move. Only one gets results. Don't tell them you're different. Show them through evolution. Don't warn them what's coming. Surprise them with transformation. Because results destroy doubt. Results erase criticism. Results rewrite perception. You can argue forever, or you can win once. Choose the win. Every time. Repeat after me. I move quiet. I build steady. I let results speak. I don't need recognition. I need mastery. I don't prove. I produce. That's the code of the focused. When you move in silence, you take back control of your timeline. You stop being reactive. You start being strategic. You're not chasing opportunity. You're creating it. The crowd will never understand that. They'll mock your absence. They'll call it failure. But when you return, they'll call it genius. Because you didn't disappear, you evolved. You have a choice. To chase noise or to build legacy. To seek recognition or to seek refinement. To crave applause or to crave alignment. Choose alignment. Choose mastery. Choose silence. Because silence builds substance. And substance always outlasts sound. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. The world rewards noise temporarily. It rewards mastery permanently. You've learned to detach. You've learned to endure. You've learned to discipline. Now, you've learned to disappear. And when you disappear, something powerful happens. You find peace and progress. The noise no longer matters. The world no longer dictates your pace. You're in your own orbit now, and gravity is on your side. You've mastered moving in silence. Now it's time to master being alone. Because solitude isn't emptiness, it's expansion. Chapter 10. The Power of Not Needing Anyone. You have a choice. To depend on others for strength or to become your own source. Independence is the highest form of discipline. Because it demands you face the truth. No one is coming to save you. Most people never reach that level. They build their confidence on approval, their happiness on company, their peace on validation. They outsource their power. And that's why they stay stuck, because what you depend on controls you. If your happiness depends on others, they control your peace. If your confidence depends on applause, the world controls your worth. If your progress depends on permission, you'll never move without it. Dependence feels safe, but it's dangerous. Because comfort disguised as connection can become a cage. You can love people deeply without needing them to complete you. You can connect with others without losing yourself in them. You can walk beside many, but still stand alone. That's real strength. That's sovereignty. The goal isn't to be isolated. The goal is to be unshakable. It's not about cutting people out. It's about cutting dependency out. You have a choice. Need connection or choose connection. Need love or give love. Need validation or embody value. When you need, you operate from lack. When you choose, you operate from abundance. That's the difference between desperation and power. The strong don't need to be understood to stay stable. They don't need to be liked to stay focused. They don't need to be surrounded to feel safe. They're their own foundation. And when you become that, everything changes. Because when you no longer need anyone, you stop being afraid of losing anyone. You stop clinging. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You attract respect because you no longer beg for attention. You attract peace because you no longer create chaos. You attract strength because you become it. Dependence is the silent thief of freedom. It makes you compromise who you are just to stay comfortable. You shrink your opinions, hide your voice, edit your truth. And every time you do, you lose a piece of yourself. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your smallness. You owe yourself your full presence. The world will tell you independence is loneliness. That's a lie. Loneliness is craving company because you can't stand your own mind. Independence is enjoying solitude because you've mastered it. They are opposites. You become powerful the day you stop needing noise to feel alive. The day you can sit alone in silence and feel peace, not panic. That's emotional wealth. That's freedom. Because when you no longer need anyone, you start choosing everyone differently. You stop clinging to toxicity. You stop begging for attention. You stop forcing what's fake. You choose from alignment, not attachment. You'll realize that solitude is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's where clarity lives. It's where vision forms. It's where self-respect grows. You find out who you are when no one's around to influence it. You discover what you truly want when the world goes quiet. That's why solitude is sacred. You can't hear your intuition in a crowded room. You can't build self-trust while depending on external noise. You need stillness to understand your next move. That's why the masters disappear before they transform. Isolation is not abandonment. It's incubation. The caterpillar doesn't call the world into the cocoon. It goes alone, transforms in silence, and re-emerges with wings. You must do the same. There will be seasons when you walk alone. Not because you're unloved, but because you're evolving. Not because you're abandoned, but because you're being refined. The climb is always lonely at first, but that loneliness is sacred space. It's where weak minds quit and strong ones are born. You have a choice: to fill the void with noise or to fill it with purpose. If you use your solitude wisely, it becomes your superpower. You'll stop fearing aloneness. You'll start craving alignment. You'll start to realize the world's approval feels small compared to your own peace. Repeat after me. I don't chase connection. I embody completeness. I don't need permission. I move with purpose. I don't depend, I decide. That's the energy of independence. It's not loud. It's not aggressive. It's calm, solid, unshakable. Because you don't need to announce independence. You live it. You walk differently. You speak differently. You decide differently. You stop asking, what will they think? You start asking, does this align with who I'm becoming? That's how freedom feels: quiet, steady, and absolute. You become your own leader. You become your own motivation. You become your own peace. And from that foundation, every other connection becomes healthier. Because when you stop needing, you start giving. From fullness, not fear. From strength, not scarcity. That's why independence isn't selfish. It's essential. Only whole people can love freely. Only grounded people can lift others. Only self-reliant people can lead effectively. You don't build independence by rejecting people. You build it by returning to yourself. By learning to meet your own needs. By learning to comfort your own storms. By learning to validate your own voice. Control what you control. Let go of what you don't. You can't control who stays. You can control who you become when they leave. That's power. That's emotional freedom. When you master independence, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop chasing peace. You carry it. You stop explaining yourself. You embody self-trust. This is the final step in emotional mastery. Because the person who needs no one can give everyone their best. You have nothing to prove, nothing to fear, nothing to lose. That's when life opens up, because you're no longer chasing, you're creating. No longer depending, you're directing. No longer seeking, you're serving. The person who doesn't need approval is unstoppable. The person who doesn't need company is untouchable. The person who doesn't need validation is free. And freedom, that's the end game. Repeat after me. I'm whole on my own. I'm focused, calm, complete. I don't need. I choose. You have learned attachment. You have learned control. You have learned silence. You have learned discipline. You have learned independence. Now you have everything you need to build a life that doesn't shake, no matter who stays, who leaves, or who doubts. Because when you master yourself, you master life. And when you no longer need anyone, that's when everyone starts to notice. You've arrived. You've evolved. You've won. Now it's time to live it. You've stopped caring. Now you start winning. Conclusion. Stop waiting for recognition. Stop waiting for applause or understanding. Disconnect from what does not help you progress. Deep down, you know very well what is holding you back. You know who your internal saboteurs are. Every doubt, every rejection, every invisible effort, all of this is part of conditioning. You're being trained to master your focus, control your emotions, and act without making noise. Let the world seek validation. You seek mastery of yourself, your emotions, and your thoughts. Stop caring about who notices. Stop caring about who approves. Worry about execution. Worry about consistency. And results will become an obvious consequence. The moment you stop seeking permission will be the moment you start winning. Now go, disconnect, execute, master.